up, guys? Yep, another Oktoberfest beer today. And this one we have Oktoberfest beer from Bell's. And it is the first real, basically out of the region craft beer that I've gotten delivered to me. Maybe the dog's thirsty again. And so I'm excited to do this. Bell's is one of those classic micro beers that hasn't sold out yet. And the one thing I will admit, I absolutely hate this packaging. I don't like this orange on orange on orange on orange thing. It's too much of one color. It very much is kind of like taking some things from the Sam Adams packaging. Even the spelling with the C instead of the K, I believe only this and the Sam Adams are the only ones I think I found that spell it with OC instead of OK. Not that it really matters, but if I'm nitpicking at packaging, not a huge fan of it. But anyways, let's get into the review. And also a very, I'll crack this open. It has this, this leaf, this changing leaf on the cap. It very much is a Molson cap. I feel like they stole this from Molson with the red maple leaf on the top and just used a fall leaf. But it looks basically the same. Anyways, pour this out. It seems to be pouring a hair thicker than your standard, than many of the ones that I've had. But, got a pretty nice color. It very much looks just like the color of the beer labeling. Everything's orange and brown, orange and brown, orange and brown. I feel there's a joke there, but I'm not going to say it. Anyways, all right, let's get in the review and get into the smell. All right, it's going to be one of those where the aroma is hard to get to. There's some there. Maybe a bit of a bit of nuttiness. Not picking up much on the maltiness. Starting to pick up a little bit on the raisiny kind of plum skin kind of thing. Subtle sweetness. Maybe a hint of clove, a little bit. But again, it's one of those Oktoberfest beers where the aroma is very hard to pick up. Not impossible. I've had some where you're just inhaling the liquid and you still don't get anything. But it smells like it should be a crisper autumn beer. Bell's does make one of my an autumn ale that I'm really a big fan of. I'm drawing a blank on the name, but Bell's is also one of those classic IPAs. I'm drawing a blank. The Two-Hearted IPA. That's one of those classic ones where the people that made it, spent a decade perfecting it before releasing it, but now everybody puts out a new IPA every month, which is why I feel like some of those old classic IPAs are still some of my favorite. Like the Dogfish Head, the 60-minute, 90-minute, those things are classic. I was actually buying beer the other day, and I was very surprised. So they had the 60, 90, and 120-minute. And 120-minute IPA, that used to be I feel like that almost started the ultra hoppy craze, and that used to be the end all be all of the ultra hoppy, and they had the beer, the rate beer ratings or whatever next to it. And it was only an 88, which I was very surprised at. Back in the day, a decade ago, that was just you couldn't beat that. So I was surprised it was actually that low. 88's good, but I don't know. I guess people have moved to different pastures from the classic American IPAs to the juicy, foggy, you can't see anything that's in the glass because we're poisoning you IPAs. Anyways, I think that it smells crisp. It smells like it's going to be a more crisp, refreshing IPA. I mean, Oktoberfest. But we'll see. So I'm going to recommend it on aroma, even though I'm only getting certain pulls from it. But all right, let's get into the taste. I mean, it's kind of just a standard IPA. I'm now I've got IPA in my mind. It's kind of your standard Oktoberfest. There's some maltiness. You're really getting that. It's really attacking the tip of your tongue with that kind of roasted barley malt taste. It kind of just latches onto the tip of your tongue and doesn't let go. So it's right there. It's not like getting any fancy. It's not trying to do anything different. The carbonation level is just right for this thing. There's some there. I feel like if it was any more, if it was flatter, it just wouldn't work. I've had some that actually was the opposite. It was almost flat, but it worked for that particular one. I think this level of carbonation is just right. There's not a lot, but it's there. Yeah, there's not a lot of sweetness at all to it. Very little, if any. It's very, very toasted maltiness, a little bit of nuttiness, almost no sweetness to it. Not as crisp as I thought it was going to be, going off of the aroma. But it's kind of, it is a fine Oktoberfest craft beer. It's nothing special. It's not bad. It's nothing special. It's one of those things where if you live in the area and it's available, it's just like, okay, yeah, I'll get that instead of, one of the mass-produced things. That's kind of what this particular thing is. Of course, you can get Bell's anywhere. So, there's actually, InBev recently purchased a brewery out of Ohio. I can't tell you the brewery, I'd never actually heard of it at the time. This happened, I believe, in August of 2019. So, depending on when you're watching this. A brewery in Ohio. Never heard of it. It's just one of those. And as I was reading people commenting on it on Twitter, there's actually a lot of local Ohio breweries that did like collaboration projects, and they were all just hated this particular brewery because they called them just unprofessional. They wouldn't show up. They'd use bad product. Nobody seemed to. I don't know. From the other local micros or brew pubs in the area, nobody's really a fan. So InBev came in and bought them out because they wanted another Midwestern footprint beer. They took over Goose Island outside of Chicago years ago, but since then there hasn't really been a footprint beer. And they tried to go after Bell's. They tried to go to Bell's and be like, yo, come on, man. And Bell's basically said, F you, take a hike. And I support that. I can dig that. Of course, at this point, Bell's doesn't. I don't know what Bell's would even get out of being bought out by InBev. I don't even they're distributed everywhere. Outside of the owners just wanting to get out and to cash in. There's I don't know what they would get out of it. It's just one of those things. But Bell's is one of those that's a staple Midwest beers. I feel like they've kind of surpassed the Great Lakes Brewing Company. I feel like Great Lakes used to be really much bigger. I don't see them as much around here in recent years. But so I mean, yeah, it's a fine micro beer. Oktoberfest. It's nothing special. I wouldn't even, I think I've had other micros from this particular region that taste better, but it's okay. So let's keep going. I mean, it's done well. I'll recommend it on taste. It's not done bad. It's done fine. It tastes like an Oktoberfest beer. So I'll give it I'll give it a thumbs up for that. Next category is value price, and the place I got it was like $2.20. It's fine for like a craft beer. Of course, I was at one of those bars that actually you can actually just buy the beer bottle and take it home with you. That's like a big thing around here. I don't know if it is where you guys are at, but if you were to buy it and take it home, it was actually like $1.75. I need to start shopping at those places instead of the Total Wine. Come on, Total Wine, the bar is cheaper than you. So, but I'm going to go with the same store that I bought everything else from. So it's about $2.25 from those particular stores. So that's not a bad price for a craft beer that's coming 2,000 miles to get to you. So I will recommend it on value price. Next category is distinction, and not really. It is a very standard Oktoberfest beer. It's not doing anything fancy. It kind of just kicked the tires of the Oktoberfest car, and it's like, okay, we get it. It's I think a lot of these breweries kind of realize that the Oktoberfest beer is only going to be around for a month, depending on when they release it. So just kind of make it fine. Don't expel too much effort, and then keep going. But again, it's not bad. It's nothing different from a lot of the other Oktoberfest beers I've had. So distinction, no, not really. It's fine. It's fine, but it doesn't really excel. It doesn't drop me. So distinction, not really. So I'm not going to recommend it on distinction. It's one of those where if you had this and like a dozen others, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So I'm not going to recommend a distinction. Drinkability, let's try this again. I mean, it drinks fine. It's a fine thing. You can pick up a 6-pack and just kind of hang out on the porch with some buddies and crack the beer open, or buddies, lady friends, whoever you're drinking with, and just one of those things that you could. I feel like it's a nice evening beer on the porch kind of beer. Just hanging out. Maybe you brought the TV outside and it's kind of crisp out. Then you need like a windbreaker. I think this is a good beer for that. So drinkability, yeah, I'll recommend drinkability. Kind of. It's pretty good for something like that. I feel like, it's made in the Midwest, probably very similar weather patterns to the area in Germany, for, Octoberfest. So I feel like, they're on the same page weather-wise when you're drinking certain beers. So, yeah, drinkability, yeah, sure, I'll recommend drinkability. Alright, last category is would I buy it again? And perfectly honest, probably not. It doesn't stand out. It's it's fine. It's done fine, but there's nothing that's like, this is amazing kind of a beer. It's standard Oktoberfest. You have it, you drink it. Yeah, it's Oktoberfest. You can take it or leave it. And I'm probably gonna leave it because there's other beers, Oktoberfest beers that I've liked more. And I'm just gonna go with those. And not anti this. I'd drink it if it was around, and that was an option, but I just don't think it's gonna be something that I'm gonna go and repurchase. So I won't. I don't think I'll be buying it again, at least this year. So no, sorry. All right, that is my review of Bell's Oktoberfest. What do you think? Have you had this? Are you Yeah. Have you had it? Have you noticed that most Oktoberfest beers in your area are pretty much just kind of regional craft beers? You haven't really found any that are kind of outside of the norm. Of course, Bell's is distributed pretty much everywhere, so it's almost Bell's is almost at that Sierra Nevada level of you can find it anywhere. You could argue that it is at that level, and I probably wouldn't disagree, but it's kind of at the higher end of distribution for craft independent beers. It does have that label that I'm so fond of, upside down empty beer bottle that actually looks more like a 40 when you flip it upside down. Anyways, so yeah, that's the review. Like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. I'm going to do these as much as I can. I'm starting to run out. After this particular one, I only have 2 left. So I'm going to get through the 20th. If I got nothing left, I'll give you my top Octoberfest beers. If a bunch come out, I'll see what I can do. But anyways, for myself and for Bell's Oktoberfest beer, you gotta make sure you know it's a beer, so they write beer in the label. But for myself and Bell's Oktoberfest, take it easy.